Hey there, you wonderful camel crew people, and welcome to some kind of a little special episode today. Yeah, it's Sunday, it's a little bit of a relaxing day, so I thought, yeah, you know, that could be something else. And also, now as we've started with franchise mode and also with my sandbox mode, I wanted to have something always in between which is not related to my ongoing series. And since you know that I did a lot of collaborations in the past already with the Lady Designer and also Aston Wolf, Silverette, and you know, you name them, I thought it would be time to build something for someone else again. You know, in the past a lot of people built for my parks as well, but now I really wanted to contribute to someone else again, and this time it's not even for a YouTuber, this time it's for the wonderful Bazoo. Potentially you guys have seen her and you know, heard of her lately quite a lot, because she was also part of the Planet Zoo stream team from the Gamescom event, and she's very lovely. She's super fun to watch. If only you all could speak German, that would be even better. But you know, if you want to join her every now and then, do so, because she's more than happy to answer in English. Don't worry, she will do it. Just go in and be very confident to answer in the chat in English. She will jump on it and it will be pretty easy to understand, so that's gonna be very interesting. I have to say though that I am hiding some stuff in here, and Bazoo, if you're watching, it takes a little bit of a time now in this episode until we are there, but I will explain a bit why I did these things. But first of all, there has to be an honorable mention here, because I'm building the kind of logo she uses on her Twitter wall, and this logo is not made by Bazoo herself. This is made by the wonderful Laura Marie. You will find the link down below in the description. As always, you find the stuff that is related to the video in the description down below, and there's a link to the wonderful Twitch, no, it's not Twitch, it's Twitter, sorry, it's a Twitter channel of Laura Marie. She's called at Luxfu. It doesn't work in English, I can't explain that in English, but she's got lovely artworks on there, and quite a cool stuff to watch. I personally have to say I love her art style. It's a bit kind of, you can definitely tell it's inspired by Japanese kind of manga and Asian manga kind of style, but it has also some unique stuff to it, so I really appreciate this. It looks super awesome, and I love these cacti she's using on her banner. Anyways, if you want to have a look into it, into the Twitter channel, God, get your facts right, Rudi, you will find this in the description down below, and also, obviously, you also find the link to the wonderful Bazoo as well in the description down below, and I will also put down a pinned comment in this video that will link to the different channels. So yeah, I hang out there in the chat quite often. The cool thing about this is most often when I'm building late at night, Bazoo is streaming as well, so it's very convenient that she's always streaming very late at night. Usually, kind of those streamers I watch, they stream completely different in terms of time. Some of them are US streamers, and I can watch them, you know, at midday or whatever. And some of the other ones are like, you know, Central European ones that don't stream that long. But Bazoo is kind of a night owl, and here's kind of the segue. That was brilliant, wasn't it? It wasn't even planned. Oh my god, I feel somehow proud of me right now. Anyway, I'm not. I'm kidding here. But her logo is an owl, and this wonderful owl is also used throughout her channel with different emotes and stuff, and I thought, okay, that's kind of a no-brainer to use this thing as very, you know, this one eye catcher on the entrance. I have to say, this entrance is somewhat of a mixture of a modern day art and kind of realism based approach on an entrance, but on the other hand side, it gives this very magical and somewhat fantasy-ish touch to it. And you know, it's Bazoo, she's a girl, she likes fantasy stuff, she likes kittens and stuff like that. Okay, that sounds wrong, right? God, I shouldn't describe it that way. But anyways, I thought it would be fitting to not make like the hyper-realism, more or less like boring kind of entrance. I know that, you know, there are a lot of people in the community, and for a good reason, that are dedicated to realism, and that, well, we do find some kind of romance in very boring, realistic buildings. I definitely have to say that myself. Sometimes this kind of boring stuff really is the most beautiful, because it's so sleek, it's so seamless, it's so great. But I wanted to make this entrance somewhat believable in a way that you can definitely tell it's some kind of a building that would work realistically, but also a building that you wouldn't find somewhere else. You know, I wanted to have something unique looking, and I have to say, Sorry, I have to say that this is, it worked better than I actually expected. And also I have to say the building itself worked better than I expected. As always in Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster, both of the games, the proportions of the pieces still is a little bit off. So the pieces are still a bit too big, even though that's what she said, even though they started to implement more smaller pieces, which is great, but since there are not that many pieces flexi-color that are very small, it was a little bit of a tricky thing to find small pieces that this Night Owl logo is getting somewhat a size that is still doable. I have to say, the one I went with are already the smallest pieces available in the game, but the problem is at the end of the day, they are still not perfectly fine. I mean, you can see I used this wonderful lost zookeeper there on this pathway in the middle, on the alley, which is funny. He just walked in there in the whole episode. At the end of this episode, it's basically just already quit the job, but he couldn't find the exit because I only used the path to have like somewhat of an idea where he is. So it's the saddest ever measurement method we ever used in a video, because it's a living zookeeper that wanted to quit its job, but it couldn't find the exit. How dare I to not leave him out? Anyways, yeah, I must say that the lack of small pieces, or let's say the lack of this word, I hate this word, flexi-color small pieces, is a little bit of a tricky thing. So I went with a big logo, with a very big logo, which in the end, I think it works. I would have loved it to be, let's say, 30-40% smaller. I tried something off screen, but it didn't work out because I couldn't get in with the details, and I wanted to make this logo as accurate as possible. So if you click on the link down below in the description to the channel of Bazo, you will find this as her Twitter banner. I'm not even sure if it's on her Twitch page as well. Let me just scroll down, because actually she's streaming at the moment, and as always I'm lurking, and so this is, oh yeah, you'll find this. If you scroll down on her Twitch page as well, you will find this banner right in the middle. So yeah, that's going to be an easy find there for you. So you can then judge yourself if I made it nicely enough to make it really look nice. But yeah, I kind of succeeded in making it the shape that I wanted to, but I'm not even too happy with the size of it. But that's how it is, you know. That's what works. And I couldn't even make it smaller. As long as she likes it, I'm fine with it. But I would have loved this logo to be a tad bit smaller. Never mind, you can't do much to better. My language just went to bed already. I should do so too, but I'm still, you know, I can't go to bed because I want to play just even more after recording. Anyways, you can see now we are working on the actual entrance building. I wanted to do something, as you have seen, I have hidden one of the energy supplies in the back of the building. This is something I wanted to do for my own park as well, so I thought, okay, let's use this as a little test. Because the one thing I do not like about the facilities, especially the energy and water facilities in Planet Zoo, they look so super barebone and so super casual game-ish, if this makes any sense to you. They just look like, hey, here, that's a transformer, it's in the middle of nowhere and it has like a fence. There you go, it makes energy, thank you. So, you know, all the other buildings have so much love already to them, like the keeper hut and stuff. They are so nicely done also from the inside, but well, yeah, the rest is just like, it's a solar panel. I would have loved to have the solar panels, for example, as kind of ploppable objects that you could put on top of the roof, for example. So, yeah, well, I can definitely tell then people can't reach it. And it, yeah, makes the whole thing a bit more complicated for the staff members to, you know, do the repairs if it's broken. So I can kind of understand why they did it. But as always, I will now try to find some ways to cover it up, and I hope that this will work. Yeah, you can see that I struggled a lot to find some suitable positions, and now I ended up with this position. And here's the deal. I didn't want to have this at the beginning, but sometimes decisions you made while the process lead to some kind of a different approach in the end. So I didn't even want to have this tower that big, but you know, I needed something that is a little bit higher to provide some kind of context to the left wing of the owl. And also I wanted to make sure that this whole structure somewhat gets a background. So I will use a lot of foliage and trees, and also some foliage on top of this building. There will be a little bit of a planter on top of the middle bridge, just to make sure that there is somewhat of a background to it. Because if you don't have a background, and from certain camera positions and camera angles, it's a bit weird because it just kind of looks weird that you do have this owl structure there, but you can't really distinguish that this is an owl. It kind of looks like weird positioned wooden pillars somewhere in midair and not really hold it, or like, you know, they're not even grounded in anything, so it's just like floating in midair, and you know, that's kind of, I didn't really like this. So I went in and created this tower over here. Also, Bazo, if you're listening, one thing, I tried to keep the piece count somewhat reasonable, because if I build stuff, let's say easy stuff, I don't know, I easily go over the limit of 4,000 pieces for yeah, the blueprint limit, and I couldn't make a blueprint out of it, which is not the idea about this. And also it kind of is not the best friend of performance. So here we go. I tried to minimize it as much as possible. However, I still wanted to include some kind of a little Easter egg in here. And this is this room over here. So I wanted to make somewhat related to her cat, which is called Jerry. Jerry cat is the best cat ever. I have to say, I'll be honest with you, but you guys know it. I'm not that much of a cat person. Like, I like big cats, but I don't like normal cats. I feel them being very cheeky, and I had some very, very weird, I don't know, experiences in the past of cheeky little cats. I wanted to just pet them and be happy with them, and like they sat there happy ever after for like 10 minutes, and all of a sudden they turned to me, looked into my face, and just bite me into my arm, like out of nowhere. And I was like, well, thanks, I guess. And so I was like, okay, no cats for me, I like dogs. So that was at the age of 10 or whatever. So yeah, also I wanted to include some of her Bazo's biggest passions, and this is like green plants, especially the Monstera. So I put a lot of those in here. So this is kind of Jerry's and Linda's room. And yeah, so this is kind of a little thing I always like to include in all the builds. I don't know if you guys remember that at in our Koali Beach I also included the 3 knots to Sylph, the Lady, and Corrales, which took a while until people found them. I really think that this is the funniest part of these kind of builds. I really hope that Bazo has already checked out the entrance before I did it, because, you know, if she watches the episode now, this kind of takes away the fun, because she now knows that it's in. But also I have hidden me in here, but don't tell her, please. She needs to find out herself. So yeah, and then we came to the last bit, and this was now figuring out how I wanted to make the entrance look. I wanted to get some signs in, some signage. I wanted to make it look a bit more welcoming. I wanted to make it look a bit more reasonable in terms of sizes, and so now the detailing work begins. It's funny though, if you look at the time-lapse, for example, we are already like, yeah, kind of 4/5 into the episode or whatever. Why am I even using this kind of weird measurement? Anyways, we are like 10 minutes, 12 minutes into the episode, while there's only that much left. And yeah, it's funny how builds always come together in the end. It's so cool because you just work to a certain point into your build until you're very happy with the structure, and then by putting down nature and foliage and stuff like that, it all comes together. And it's funny though how much time you have to spend in the beginning, and then how less time you spend in the end to make it really look amazing. And I always find this special to see how it looks after a few seconds when you start putting down the foliage and just rotate some of the pieces, put in some rocks here and there, just spam them all across. It's almost like I put commas in my German text. It's like, you know, grab a handful of commas, throw them into my text, and be happy at the end. The only issue is my Plan Zoo builds are looking great in the end, my German text's not. So I don't even know why I did this. Never mind, forget about this. It's just, I always need to make fun of my German text. It's like my writing is so awful. This is also mainly one of the biggest reasons why I did my bachelor and master thesis plural in English, because for me it's easier, especially in kind of scientific weird language, which I still hate. But anyways, I love this to do it in English because it's so much easier. For once, because I don't have that many words available anyways, so it kind of forces you to focus more on what you want to say. And in German, it's kind of the bullshit. You always kind of use 7 million words, which all mean the same, just to sound a bit more intelligent or clever, which you're not. And it's weird because the stuff you're saying in your text, you put into like 10 pages, you could easily say in like 2, but you need to do it and need to kind of make it in a way that it is like 10 pages. It's weird. I hate it. So I always make fun of it. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, weird language. Now we come to the last logo, and I'm in particular happy with how this turned out. So, as I said, she's called Bazoo, and it's kind of a very obvious thing here to call this Bazoo, because she does call herself on Twitter that way at the moment. So I thought, okay, let's try something with the name, and I figured that this kind of smiley with the 2 O's would fit nicely and makes the whole thing like a happy place, because that's what it is. It's a happy place. But yeah, it wouldn't be me without any kind of little detail of realism, and that is this little support in the back. But that's it. Now figuring out some lighting at the end, but that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a different content. Yeah, as always, if you have some feedback down below in the comments, let me know. And if not, well, I hope you at least enjoyed the episode, and we see each other again in tomorrow's episode of Yosemite Valley, and also in live stream from 8, I guess, p.m. Central European Time. See you there. Have a good Sunday, and goodbye, guys. Bye-bye. Where is this freaking end button? Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rudi_Rennkamel. Also, big thanks to the crew. You can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time, and see you next time. Bye guys.